everybody, and welcome to our little series that we are doing on spiritual disciplines. Spiritual disciplines are really important because they are intentional ways that we can step into the presence of God and allow Him to also pursue us, to spend time with us. In fact, today my topic is solitude and stillness and silence. In fact, typically we hear these said together as silence, stillness, and solitude. Now it's kind of confusing, I think, because solitude, why is that a spiritual discipline? We are called to community. We are made for one another. But for one thing, we see Jesus get away over and over and over again throughout the Gospels. In fact, off the top of my head, I can think of over a dozen times when he goes away to spend time alone with the Father. And as we are walking out our faith walk, and we want to be doing our lives the way of Jesus, the way that he did, following in his footsteps, working to live our lives the way that he did, we want to go ahead and follow along with this spiritual discipline as well. The second reason this is really, really important is because if you haven't noticed, we are a people who love to just do. We are doing beings, but really, God made us to be human beings, right? He wants us to be. And when we don't stop or slow down, it feels kind of hectic and chaotic. We aren't present with our lives. We aren't present with how we're feeling. We're not processing things. We're just going. And life is just passing us by from moment to moment, the next to the next to the next. And it's not actually very good for us. So the spiritual discipline of silence, stillness, and solitude is really, really powerful. And even though it doesn't seem like it matters, it seems like it's this little thing, like, does it really make a difference? I will tell you that even in my own life, as I have started to practice this more and more, I've realized that it does make a huge difference. Even if not right in the moment when I'm spending time alone with the Lord, I don't see it. I notice it overall. And I actually notice that I get to a place where I feel like I really need that time alone with him. I have realized lately that I have a lot of energy. I think energy is good, but this is anxious energy. This is something that's kind of constantly buzzing and stirring and working, kind of like an app in the background of your phone. It's working in the background of my life all the time. And it kind of actually, it sucks away my joy, it sucks away my peace, it sucks away my energy. So when I spend this time alone with the Lord, I actually feel like it helps recenter me. It quiets me. It helps me focus on him. It helps me hear and see things the way that he might want me to hear and see things, and not the way that the world is kind of forcing me to do that. So in my life, it has been really, really powerful. In fact, even just before I recorded this message, I came out of a staff meeting, I went home, and I spent some quiet time in a thing called centering prayer with the Lord to just quiet my innards, to just kind of come to a place of reset. I need that with him. And I think he encourages us to do that because he showed us that too. And like I said, not only just solitude, the silence is huge. We have a really, really noisy world, you guys. And whether it be just something that we're reading, which is noisy also. We're always on our phones, we're reading something. There's also just noise all around us. And there's noise in our own heads. It's a noisy place. And then, of course, even stillness. I notice that when I stop and I hold still, it actually talks to like my systems in my body and kind of asks them to kind of walk it back and to kind of calm down. It's like it talks to my limbic system or something, but there's something going on there. And since he made our systems, he knows them really, really well and calls us into these spaces and blesses us in them as he meets us there. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of references because I think it's really important that, you do your own exploring. You find out if this works for you and what maybe could work for you. Spiritual disciplines in general are really, really powerful, and this is a great book. Celebration of Disciplines by Richard Foster. This book talks about all kinds of spiritual disciplines, internal, external, and actually these videos will kind of point you to a whole bunch of them. But here's a little bit more in depth if you want to learn more about all the different spiritual disciplines or how they can manifest in your life and you can enter into them. Another thing I want to show you is the Lectio Divina journal. This is my old one. We are doing Lectio Divina. This is a perfect way, you guys, to enter into solitude, silence, and stillness with the Lord. As you go through this each day, and you go through, and there's a scripture section there. There's time for reflection, and you can kind of think about, what did I see in scripture? What does the Lord want me to hear? There's a section where you can kind of put your thoughts out or your prayers out. It actually even asks you to kind of hold still and be quiet for some time so that you can prepare your heart and mind to hear from the Lord. So make sure you get one of these. We have them. You can check them out off the website. We're doing these right now, so we're really excited about that. So it's a really awesome way to enter into silence, stillness, and solitude. Another thing that's really awesome that I have learned a lot about is this thing called centering prayer. This book is called Centering Prayer and Inner Awakening. This is kind of a deep thing. It's something that if you have been practicing some solitude, stillness, and silence with the Lord for a time, this might be a whole nother level that you can enter into with the Lord. It kind of recommends doing this like 20 minutes a day, just spending time before the Lord quiet, like emptying your brain completely. The idea is that you kind of empty your brain so that sort of His presence can fill it. So you're emptying your brain and emptying yourself and allowing your spirit to kind of convene with His spirit. It's really, really powerful and really awesome. Another thing that this book makes me think of is engaging in this thing called the prayer of examine. The prayer of examine is something that you could look up. I don't actually have a reference for it here as a book, but actually this book here, it's kind of a daily devotional. It does kind of encourage this whole concept. It's where you kind of meet with the Lord in the morning or at midday, and then you meet with Him again at night, maybe before you go to bed. And you read through this devotional. This one's by Pete Scazzaro. It's a pretty good one. But you also spend some time in the prayer of examine, which is kind of asking yourself, where did you see the Lord in your life move today? And where did you see maybe where He wasn't? Or maybe you weren't acting out of kindness, or there was something that kind of gave you angst or it made you sad. So it's this idea of looking at consolations, things that are good, places where you can see the Lord move, which also postures our hearts and minds to gratitude. And then this place of looking at desolations, places where we maybe felt desolation. We felt kind of death or something yucky. We didn't feel good. We didn't feel content. We didn't feel peace in our hearts. We missed where God might have been in that. And maybe that's something that we did or the way we acted in some situation or something that happened to us. But without silence, stillness, and solitude, we can't engage with these things. And when we can't engage with these things, we can't invite the Lord in to do the work inside of them that He wants us to do. Again, this creates a space for Him to connect and pursue us. We have to be intentional with it. We have to create space for it. We can't just find time for it because we won't. We're so busy, again, doing all the time. We have to create space for it. And when we are intentional to do that, He will meet us there and He will bless us. This by far is my very favorite spiritual discipline, and I encourage you to engage in it as well. Be blessed.